So, I know it has been a while since my last commentary slash informative video. Please don't look at the time. But back then, I was really surprised at how well it was received. But for a while, I felt like that I had really nothing else to say that was worthwhile commentary video from my perspective. However, with the current turmoil that prevents me from making as much of my usual brain-rotted diagnosis of how the internet saps brain cells from the living, I decided to actually be productive. I decided to do a review of the latest IoT-Rex / Allo Horde test. The good, the bad, and the pretty fucking ugly. But let's start from the beginning. How did this Horde test start? Well, it started with a resounding excitement, as T-Rex had been the darling start of many Dinosaurs fans everywhere, including the head dev itself, if I recall from the record. So when everyone tried to pile on in, like with the Tricore test, many people were met with unfortunate circumstances, as the queues were not functioning at the start, and to my knowledge at the time of writing this script, still not working. Either it can be turned off due to minimize possible crashing, or there was a vulnerability. I cannot fully speak on the matter, but those are my thoughts regarding it. Due to this lack of a queue, it created a more tenuous environment to get in and try to enjoy this quote-unquote new experience. The Triceratops Horde test allowed players to do other things as they waited a turn to join a server. While in the Rex Horde test, you have to keep refreshing the screen in order to see an opening. If you heard me emphasize new earlier, then kudos to you, dear listener, as Rex had technically been out for months in advance to its official Horde test. As when the developers released the Triceratops to the main branch, they accidentally left 3 playables in the files: Ostroraptor, Allosaurus, and finally T-Rex, which ultimately was the most complete of the 3. Though I'm gonna be honest, some servers I have been in during that time, it was not yet released for a reason, as the younger forms were disproportionately dangerous and the pin was very lenient. Ultimately, I feel like some of these variables influenced another variable. Toxicity! Yay! I love this. Not really. The official Vrima Horde test is in and of itself a Wild West-esque environment. Mixed packing, deception, and even hacking can be commonplace. More on that later. But it added to an environment where people just wanted to try out an animal whose presence helped shape the dinosaur fan culture and bring paleontology into a wider light. But that was met with frustration. Yippee! But it was not solely Rex that came with the initial update, but it was also the Elder system. You can be a crotchety old dinosaur man, providing an end game to the life of a dinosaur. As a part of the ending, it is becoming stronger, making it important to go around the map, travel, and take care of your dinosaur. Unfortunately, when it was first implemented, it was so incredibly sped up, many smaller tier dinosaurs did not get to have as much playtime to use their prime dinosaurs. Though a complaint I still hear from several smaller tier dinosaur gameplay is they often grow so fast that it can be difficult to get Elder with them, or for very long. Though it is uncertain if there will be a strategy that will make that more reliable for smaller tier dinosaurs in the future. And this difficult environment often led to many seeking out groups, which in and of itself is fine, but for some, these groups were often mixed species packs / herds, the most troublesome of these being mixed carnivore and or carnivore / herbivore groups. Though massive mixed herbivore groups going out of their way, they kill everything ain't fun either. Seeing it as one of the few ways to be the superior force, which is generally not the way to do that in my honest opinion. But getting to the next stage of the Horde test, when the devs began to troubleshoot possible issues a snag reared its head in the form of a live branch vulnerability and malicious coordinated groups. As by initially taking away resources from Horde testing branch, where the devs needed to correct an issue of malicious parties being able to clone admin roles to themselves to provide quite profane announcements. Though, from my perspective, this allowed time for cheat developers to re-implement prior existing cheats, causing many junctions around the map to proliferate, many making players very reasonably paranoid, as a frequent script that is run with cheaters is ESP, which allows them to find even the most hidden players. Some of these exploits and hacks being invulnerability, increasing attack speed to melt through player health, locking dinosaurs into place, ranged hitbox attacks, omnidirectional movement, and more than I can honestly be bothered to recall. But this resulted in exasperation to an immense degree due to trying to survive being hindered by possibly either lured into a trap by a mixed species pack or being the victim of a hacker. Though these could also be at the same time as well, which is not a fun cookie to be handed. This was not of the fault of developers in this regard, as with their attention drawn elsewhere to fix live branch issues, it allowed time for cheat developers to make new scripts to counteract the easy anti-cheat system. As in many live multiplayer games, there are individuals that develop these cheats in order to ruin the experience for everyone. As being an avid fan, I'm going to just bring this up, Team Fortress 2, I've been playing since 2014 onward, very much enjoy the experience. For 8 years, since 2016, up until a certain point a little while ago, cheat devs created cheat bots. Not for any rhyme or reason, besides being an absolute troglodyte. Like seriously, these people built computers that look like walking corpses of hardware, just the host spinning Australians shooting you. That aside, this shows how these cheat devs can actively try and destroy a game when given any chance, such as when a developer's attention is forced elsewhere for a short period. That and I don't really have respect for these cheat developers at all. And for those that buy or acquire these cheats, please treat yourself better. It robs you of an experience that I feel that the Isle provides. And at the same time, these cheats that you buy often come with malware that are malicious in nature, that you have to trust in order to install on your computer. So that can ruin your computer or steal your information. So please do not buy that software. It is detrimental to your well-being. But that's all I have to say on that matter. Though after some time balancing T-Rex and the Elder system, they decided to release Allosaurus. This was on Halloween when I was enjoying a Halloween party when it went down. And I gotta say, interesting environment for someone that's generally introverted to go out on Halloween to see some of the quote-unquote costumes. And when I got on, it went a little something like this.
Will you two shut up? People are trying to sleep!
Upon its initial release, it let loose the floodgates for Allosaurus fans everywhere, which led to another onslaught of carnivores being released upon the ravaged servers of Horde, which is where everyone found that Allo could not be bumped off on any terrain and only in water, or by bucking, which is luck of the draw. Which did not help that Allo bleed was a nigh death sentence for anyone pounced at this time, causing many individuals to shift to bleed-resistant perks to even have an attempt of survival. Allo also had immense mobility for its size, as what is normally meant to not be so nimble of a carnivore was able to use its grapple ability with a simple camera direction change and right mouse click, allowing it to lunge in any direction mostly, making it so most players were very wary of even single allos in a fight, out of fear of being unable to throw off the predator only for more allos to appear. At the current stage of the Horde test, several changes have been made so far to include and improve the Horde test experience, including Allo Bleed being nerfed, yippoo! Stego being changed to more of a bleeding dinosaur, which from my experience with so many bleed resistant perks preventing you from dying, makes it a little more difficult for them. But without that, any prolonged conflict would be dangerous from the noodly plate dinosaur. And Maya got a buff. Hoorah, hoorah! They also made eggs provide no nutrients to dissuade mixed packs of self-domestication, like people were turning themselves into chickens just to feed their Rex buddies. And freaking deforestation, apparently. Like, look at this. There's no trees around. What the heck is that? Though thankfully at the current time, they might have found the issue to the crashes going on in the servers. Just at the time of writing this, I think they still have a ping issue they're trying to work through. But positive progress, I must say. That is good news. But to afford neutrality from my end, I asked a few other individuals of what they thought of the current Rex Horde test and their experiences from it. I was gonna do like a whole lot more people, but as I said, with the current circumstance I'm in, I quickly kind of went with 6 or 7 individuals to get their perspectives. So please be understanding, this is not a professional grade survey. This was just me trying to see if I could find trends. I had 3 questions in advance. I asked these individuals about how they felt about this Horde test. What did you like about this Horde test? What didn't you like? And what do you think could be done better in the future? Hopefully trying to keep these things simple and to the point. However, some of my responses were very in-depth and very passionate about what they felt about this. So I'm going to do my best to make sure their thoughts are heard and share perspective with others. And if you feel like you have your own perspectives on this Horde test, feel free to let me know in the comments, as I'm not going to be able to edit them here from the past. So please, do not try time traveler on me. I can only handle so much. Right, Binksy? He's ignoring you all. Starting off with some generalized notes that I took from what people liked of this Horde test is, quite frankly, a lot of people were fans of T-Rex and Allosaurus in and of itself. They liked that they were being added and implemented, and understood that they were being balanced. So the hype for T-Rex and Allosaurus is still there despite the troubles that came along the way. There was individuals that really liked the Elder system, or at least the concept of the Elder system, providing new variation in gameplay. The environments are beautiful, diverse, plant life, and ecology is what they appreciate from this latest Horde test. And the sound design and the animations are also very much appreciated. Moving on to what players disliked in this Horde test, also it revolves around the Elder system as well as many, despite many being up for it at the same time. As many players are uncertain or unsure of becoming 100% infertile at 100%. As they feel that, from an overview, that is a little unfair in case like you can't find someone in time, and you want to breed. As I had one individual travel around the whole map trying to find a dinosaur of their own species, and unable to do so. And the one they didn't even want to breed. So that limits the style of players that actually like nesting. So that's a limiting factor from what I'm seeing. And they do note, at least the second individual I interviewed, that there are mutations that you can use in order to work around this. However, they disappear once you entomb, making it very detrimental if you do pick them. So, from what I'm seeing on the second individual, they are preferring nesting to go back to the way they were, and they are also asking for overtuned stats to be averaged out to begin with, as they bring up precisely how Allosaurus and Rex were starting off. Very, very incredibly strong. The third individual I interviewed on what they didn't like about the Horde test, one of the first things that was prompted by them is the new UI. They note how it's harder to look at, and it is overall uglier in their experience. As well as they also noted they did not like the pin-to-win nature of Allosaurus and T-Rex at points. Because player and the Elder system, they do not like how it's implemented where they have to do a checklist of things. Because they, in their words, forces players to complete a checklist rather than just enjoying the dinosaur. As it stands now, in their quotations, the Elder system changes the gameplay from survival of the fittest to a race against the clock to complete a checklist. For the fourth individual, they disliked the mixed packing and hackers in the Horde test, but they did not blame the devs specifically for that, which it overall made it very rough in their experience. But the server crashes were really bad at the beginning, which also made it rough. The next individual's dislikes for this Horde test was the map changes. It was fine before, and in their opinion, and it's almost as if it got smaller. So low traffic areas got wiped. Highlands was redone. Don't like your sterile at prime, and then become slow, in their opinion. And as for the last individual, Pinslop is a bit disappointing, as well as the horrible mix packing and overpacking issue with Apex's and Allo's sharing in the Dibble AI in Delta. And I do agree in that point of view, as it was kind of leaving out a food dish for many Rexes and Allosaurus to get strong and roam out of Delta to cause issues before coming back just to be fed. In this next section, here are the points of view of what these individuals think could be done better in future Horde tests. The individual first off that was first interviewed wishes that the Elder system could be reworked, especially how the Prime Elder system works. They also want their colorful skins back, though I do know that there's going to be a theme skin thing coming in the future that allows for colorful skins but not mashing colors. But that's their point of view in the time of asking. The second individual mostly states that hindsight is 2020, but hopefully the infertile at 100% becomes a setting that community servers can toggle on or off. And it's probably to prevent mixed packs and clans in their perspective, but they have said it in countless times. Once you have entombed the max times, fully stated, why the heck would you risk becoming a young dinosaur again when you would just lose stats? It also puts a lot of pressure in their point of view on the nesting system. It provides a lot less time, as well as just making you restart from the beginning just to be able to nest again. For the next few individuals, I'll just rapid fire them. They would like some admins on the server, but if that couldn't be the case, could you make the servers bigger? The next one being fix the bugs, not the map. And lastly, Prime is decent but not perfect, but seems solid. So it shows that this one views that Prime could be, or at least the process to Prime could be streamlined or better off. For this last individual, however, I decided to put this last in this list, if it's out of order, is that they have a very good list of things that they want to be corrected and gave some ideas for it as well. As they based emphasis on fixing long-standing bugs, making the Elder system more diet-based and shouldn't have to punish the player by worsening their stats. And they view as the better diet you have, the larger your creature can be, up to the max Elder size. Which is an interesting take on the matter, and they actually provide some math here. I'm not going to read the math exactly, but it does sound like an interesting concept of trying to get your dinosaur to a Prime Elder, or the most Prime Elder it can be. Let's say 100% diet for most of your life, you get about half the usual Prime Elder size. But if you get to around 200% for most of your life, you get to the max Prime Elder size. And it makes you work harder for getting your Prime Elder to the maximum peak of fitness. And they also state that once you entomb, that your stats could start deteriorating from there, allowing players a little extra time for using their dinosaurs. In which I gotta say, I very much like the ideas that they provide here. As nesting could also further slightly boost the size of the individual, apart from diet, to increase this max Elder size, if I am reading this properly. These are weird, like, columns I'm trying to read from, so. But overall, very good ideas from what I'm seeing from this individual. Well done, Sasha. But this shows how hard people want this system to work. Just there's things here and there, and general overall trends of what people believe need to be improved on or worked on. A lot of these being Prime Elder systems, so that they could be either further customized, or there's greater freedom in character stats so that they aren't forced to, let's say if they're at the max entomb, start all over again with minimizing a stat, or making it so you choose when you start to deteriorate. Overall, I feel like these are some good points that everyone provided. So, yeah. So this is the end of the video currently, and I do thank everyone for providing their information. And please let me know if I missed anything. This is just a personal project of mine to get some information out there. And hopefully it acts as a positive source of information, or maybe something to look back on in hindsight. As any positive change that can be made for the future Horde tests and learning from this Horde test could greatly influence and benefit the Isle ecosystem as a whole. This is Dodo Tactics. Everyone have a fantastic week, and have a good one.